On a daily basis, I lived with an idea that I am not who I am supposed to be, right? I had a blueprint in my head that told me, or that showed me, this is who I am, this is how I move, this is my financial success, this is my physical and mental success, these are the people in my life, this is my woman, right? This is my family. I had all of these components of an identity who I truly believed I was supposed to be, but in that present moment, that's not who I was. So I did not feel like my full self. I didn't feel like my complete self, and it nagged at me. And you might be in the exact same situation where you wake up or you go throughout your day-to-day life and there isn't fulfillment. You don't feel like you are fully aligned into the identity that you imagine in your head. Now, here's the thing. The biggest excuse that people give to not aligning to that identity is something like, I'm still young, right? When people say I'm still young, on many occasions they're saying, hey, I'm not who I want to be, and that's okay. I'm not who I want to be. I'm not acting as the person, right? I'm not acting in the same capacity as the person in my head would be acting, but it's okay. I'm still young. I'm 29 years old, right? And I have people in my life today, maybe associates, that still say they are still young. When I was 21, when I was 22, I felt old as hell. I felt like I was running out of time, right? And what that feeling was basically, again, I'm not who I want to be. It's a problem, and I had much more urgency to get there. And this is exactly why I'm in the financial and in the life situation I'm in now, and some of my friends who felt like they were still young and who still feel that way have not transitioned, right? So if you want to transition to your higher self, and if you really feel like you have this urge to become that person, to become that identity, this video is going to help you do that, right? So my name is Cleveland Bishop. Usually I talk business, usually I talk finance, but today I wanted to talk a little bit about developing you as my subscribers, the people here on this channel. You guys have been watching me for years, potentially, right? Or you might be new here. What's up? Make sure you subscribe. I want to make sure that you are on the right path to transitioning to your higher self. Every man is supposed to have two deaths, right? The death of you're old, hopefully, right? And you have aged. But there's a middle death. There's a death of the adolescent self, the child self, the boy self, okay? And the problem is, many men never experience that second death. That second death is the requirement to have that fulfilled feeling of being who you want to be in life. Many men walk around with feelings of inadequacies, feelings of low confidence. They have a very bad network of people around them, right? They don't know how to attract the right woman into their life. They don't, again, have the camaraderie of a productive peer group. They don't have mentors. Most men function in that capacity on a day-to-day basis. I mentor a lot of kids, okay, in their young 20s or whatever, and some of their late teens because they're in college. And most of them, again, have zero leadership. The responsibility for you to transition wasn't your responsibility, right? The inadequacy, the lack of confidence you have in yourself, it's not your fault. It's technically your elder's fault. The community that you're in was supposed to be the ones to bring you up into the functioning adolescent, the functioning young man, and then for you to, with those skill sets and with those ideologies and traditions and rituals, you were supposed to then go through a transition, through experience, through going out on your own and fulfilling the obligations and fulfilling the role that was instilled in you as a young man, which was hopefully something along the lines of take care of your family, be strong, be confident, follow your dreams, be creative, lead your community. These are the things that young men are supposed to be taught, but seldom they are. And again, it's not your fault. Now, the thing is, after you watch this video, it technically is your fault because you have to transition. If you never transition, you will never be fulfilled in life. And that was very difficult for me. I, even up until, on a day-to-day basis, I still look for guidance from elders, from mentors, and thankfully, through the pursuit of understanding that is a requirement for every man, to have a very well astute and productive mentor or elder in his life It's a requirement. And so the question is, how do you transition, right? How do you become that better version of yourself? Because it didn't happen for you. You weren't blessed with the right parents or the right uncle, the right grandfather, right? You weren't blessed with those type of men in your life. You're grateful for them. You love them, but they didn't rear you to be a powerful, strong, confident man, okay? So you have to transition. What do? How do you make it happen? There's a couple of things that are going to be slowing this process down for you that you have to understand, because if you don't understand the things that could be hurting you, then you're obviously going to have a hard time advancing, and you're not going to know what is going on. You're not going to know the center of the problem as to what could be stopping you from becoming this well-functioning adult male. Societal ideology and dogma. These are things that, again, you are in no control of, but they can give you feelings, they can give you ideas, and they can give you inspirations that aren't your own or that don't even come natural to you. An example of that is the black community. As a kid, what are you told, or what do you see, all right, as in regards to people becoming successful? You see athletes, you see people in the music industry, right? And then maybe if you grow up in a little bit more of a productive area in that culture, then okay, well then you can maybe go be a doctor, you can go be a lawyer. But again, the problem is society kind of pressures you to have certain ideologies or have certain tendencies, and those tendencies can guide you your entire life. And unfortunately, at that point, you are out of control, right? And so you see it in all cultures across the world. You have parents initiating certain ideologies unconsciously onto their kids and not really allowing their kids to express themselves. Okay, so again, you got to really ask yourself, okay, where is my sphere of limitation based on how I've been raised? What am I only looking at? And how about I get out of the box a little bit? You know, instead of going into, you know, the most obvious path that someone like me, that looks like me, that's shaped like me, that thinks like me, that acts like me, that talks like me, instead of going the path that I would most likely go based on how society has engineered me, why don't I get out of that dogma and go into a different area or try something unfamiliar? This is the best way, right, to become successful, honestly, is to get in your own lane. Take some of the things maybe from your culture or from, you know, some things that you like about that particular society, but do it in your own way, completely unfamiliar to what other people are used to, right? So again, societal ideology and dogma can slow you down. Another thing that can slow you down is behavioral inertia. This one destroyed me for years, okay? Because guess what? If you're over 25 years old, your ability to change your thoughts, your ability to change your actions, behavioral inertia is the tendency to continue to do what you have been doing, all right? And so it's true. It's harder to change the older you get, which is why when you say, hey, I'm still young, that's actually working so hard against you, you have no idea. Okay, so if you're under the age of 25, you're in a little bit of luck. It's still extremely hard to change certain habits and certain ideas, but the fact that you're watching this video, you have a chance. And if you're over 25, again, it's going to be even more difficult, but it is still possible. You have to look at yourself and you have to really identify what the fuck you're doing. If you are doing something that you know unequivocally is going to slow you down, it is your job to get very introspective, okay? Really fine tune and understand who you are as a person, what drives you, and start to rewire your brain. Because certain things that you do could be absolutely destructive. Certain ideas you have about yourself can be absolutely destructive. A lot of people in the personal development space call it self-limiting beliefs, right? And again, even outside of that belief system that you have maybe created, again, just habitual processes that you initiate unconsciously that could be destroying you, right? There was one that I did, and I'll give you guys an example of this, is on many occasions, you know, when I was going through my transition, I was saying, before I was really going through my transition, like before I was really understanding what I needed to do, I was consistently saying to myself, man, I should be doing this. Man, I should be doing that, right? I would look at somebody and I would be like, damn, I should be doing that, right? I would think to myself, damn, this is what I should be doing, right? So that was a habit. I had to pinpoint it. It was very hard for me to find out that I was doing this. And once I pinpointed me saying that to myself over and over again, I started to realize how unproductive and how destructive it was. When I'm in the mindset of saying I should be doing something, immediately I'm one, obviously not moving forward, but I'm actually looking down on myself and looking at myself in my lesser form and just really shaking my head at my own self. And that is horrific. So I transitioned to a next level, and that next transition was, I'm going to be doing that, right? I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that. Wow, I see myself doing that. I'm not doing it yet, but I stopped saying I should, and I at least started to say I'm going to be doing that. How could I start doing that? What are the first steps I need to take, right? And then the third and final transition, which is, again, for some the hardest, is I am doing that. That is who I am. This is what I do. I do that better than them, right? So once you fully create that reality in your head, it's an amazing place, or it's an amazing example of what transitioning to your higher self looks like with your mindset. So those are two key things. It's not all of them, but those are two key things that could be slowing you down on you becoming that higher version of yourself, okay? And so I want to move on next to the first step to really envisioning or understanding who that higher version of yourself is, right? Without so much of a gimmick, without so much esoteric words and things of that sort, because sometimes this stuff can get real vague and it's hard to understand when to implement what you got to put into practice to get in the right, and get on the right wavelength to go to that next level. What I want you guys to do is I want you to find somebody. I want you to find somebody. It could be 2 people, it could be 3 people, it could be 1 person, but I need you to find somebody to model. Because for every young man and every man, who is not fully a man, because there could be 35, 36-year-old dudes who are watching this video right now who are like, okay, I don't want to model anybody because I'm already old as fuck. Well, guess what? If you still have boyish tendencies and boyish qualities, then you need a guide. You need someone to emulate in some capacity. I don't care how old you are, right? I mean, some of the oldest philosophers in the world in their 50s and 60s still had mentors and still seeked guidance from elders, okay? So again, societal ideology, all right, dogma, don't listen to anybody. I'm a grown man already. I don't need to listen to anyone. Be careful with that. You need to find somebody to model, and you need to understand the things about them that you appreciate. And once you have fully embodied, or once you have fully first, understood, okay, this is what I like about that person, you got to embody that. And the shadow side of this, by the way, the dangerous side of this is worship, right? I mean, you looking at another man or another woman and pretty much worshiping them as some type of godlike figure. You never want to get to that point, right? You never want to get to that point to where someone to you is like represents, the epitome of, the epitome of a man or the epitome of a woman, to the point to where you think they aren't, that you are completely detached from them. Okay, so you got to be careful going that far, but I want you to truly appreciate somebody. Like, I want you to truly appreciate somebody, and I want them to become a part of you. It's almost required on the transition. If you think during this transition, you're going to come up with all your own ideas, you're going to become this person entirely on your own without any example, you're wrong. Rearing has to happen, and you now have to do it for yourself. So you have to find people who you want to model after. And you don't want to be somebody that you don't know much about. You want to know exactly the source from where they get their power. For example, if you see somebody is extremely confident and you seek confidence like them, you need to understand where they get that confidence from. You need to break it down, right? And so if this is somebody in your personal life, then fantastic. You can sit down with them, you can go talk to them, and you can understand deeper how they became that way, right? But if it's somebody online, then of course you can do your research, and hopefully they have different articles or video content interviewing them about their life and how they become the person they have become. But nevertheless, you have to understand where that comes from, because it might come from a different source than you, but at the end of the day, you understand how they got there. Because guess what? through osmosis. It's very rare people just become something without some type of stimuli, without some trauma, right? People are made to be successful. People are made to be highly functioning adults. It doesn't happen through osmosis and talent like, oh, you're 6'6", so you're just tall. Oh, I was just born confident. No. A lot of people believe that people are born with confidence, or people are born with high self-esteem, or people are born with creativity. No. They were enabled. They were enabled by either a parent, by a teacher, by some early mentor, but it was enabled. And for you, if you don't have that, then you need to find in yourself how you can pull from your past. You might be dealing with things from your past in a negative context. Okay, well then what's happening? It's not helping you, it's holding you back. You have to find the things in your past that can give you a source of strength. This is, again, a way to go through the transition to becoming your higher self. People who are in their fullest form utilize their past, negative or positive, in a way that creates them to be, again, higher functioning, better, and more productive. Okay? You have to do the exact same thing. So the more you understand the person who you maybe in that one particular moment are idolizing or that you're looking up to, the more you can get from them, okay, this is what they used for strength. What am I going to use for strength? Because it comes from somewhere. And even better than this is to surround yourself around people who have those traits. It's a little bit harder to do, especially during COVID and all these other things. But it's possible to do, you know, and you want to try to get it done because it will accelerate this process immeasurably. It's going to be 10 times faster. But if you can't, or if it's difficult for you to find those people, then you really have to cut everything off, cut everyone off that doesn't have these qualities, limit the people that don't have these qualities as much as you possibly can, come into your own world and slowly start to pull from your past and establish that trait in yourself. Establish that trait, establish from your past those moments where you were told you're confident, those moments where you did an amazing job. Establish that as your center. Now there's another word for this, and this is where we're pretty much going to wrap up, because this is your starting place on becoming the better version of yourself. It's going to take more than just one video to understand all of the variables to come into that enlightened state. But there's a word for this. Okay, it's a word you've heard before. It's called gratitude. The single best way to transition from a lower form to a higher form is gratitude. And there's a reason why, all right? And this is where we're going to spend the rest of this video, because if you leave with this video with the competency that gratitude is going to be the key resource or the key element to you transitioning to that higher version of yourself, then you will immediately start to see the changes in your life. Just give it 2 weeks and you'll start, could be less than that, but give it 2 weeks, okay? And you will immediately start to see certain changes. The reason I say 2 weeks is because, you know, a month for me back in the day, dude, I couldn't stick to shit for a month. But you tell me to 2 weeks, you know, for some reason I could crank out a 14-day run on something. And we could talk more about goal setting and how to, you know, stick to your goals in a little bit. But gratitude gives you access. I'll start this off with an analogy. I want you to imagine a samurai who was blessed with a sword. That sword was cured using the greatest practices, built with the greatest metals, and constructed by the greatest blacksmith of all time. That samurai was grateful that he was bestowed this special sword. He was grateful because he understood its power. He understood the story behind it. He knew that it was unique, he knew that it was special, and he knew that he had a responsibility to yield it powerfully, take care of it. It gave him his strength. Now, when that samurai goes to battle, how is he going to use that sword? Is he going to be afraid to wield it? No. He is going to use every ounce of the power that sword has. He's going to strike his opponents as hard as he possibly can, because he knows that sword is unbreakable. he is going to use that sword to block any and all attacks, because he understands, again, that the strength of that sword is immeasurable. It's never going to break. There's nothing that anyone can do to stop him from pillaging whatever village or protecting whatever society that army has told him to protect. Now imagine another perspective where a samurai found or was given a sword that had no story. It was chipped, brittle, right? He was insecure of his power. He didn't understand the capabilities or how much stress that sword could tolerate, right? How would he yield it? Would he strike his opponents as hard? Or would he feel as if he could use that tool to block any attacks? More than likely, that samurai is going to have to think of other cunning ways to be successful. It's not going to rely entirely on the sword that was given to him. He can't put all of his strength into that one particular power, that one particular asset. Now, the amazing thing is, with gratitude, with immense gratitude and with immense understanding, you lose fear. That sword is nothing more than a representation of your capabilities. It's just a metaphor for a particular skill set or a particular attribute that you have. But it's all about how you have come to understand that attribute. You can look at this sword as confidence. If no one built that up, if no one told you how powerful and how useful a confident man is, then your confidence is fragile. If no one told you were confident, and if no one taught you how to be a confident man, then very seldom will you use your confidence in a way that allows you to progress in life. But if you become grateful, or if you were always grateful of confidence because of, again, someone teaching you the right way or helping you understand the power of having a very strong identity and a very strong value of yourself, then guess how you're going to utilize your confidence. You're going to utilize it in every moment of your life, and you're never going to have an unwavering idea of it. No one can throw you off. No attacks can make you feel as if your confidence, right? No attacks can make you feel as if your confidence is dwindling, and no amount of you pushing your confidence out into the world is going to be and no amount of you pushing your confidence out into the world is going to lessen it. You have an unlimited resource and an unlimited amount of confidence that will always be there for the rest of your life. Just like how that particular sword has an unlimited amount of power. You have to have that same type of gratitude and thankfulness in a storyline for your life. Otherwise, you're weak. The story is what is important, and the story comes out of your thankfulness for what you have. Without being thankful, you have no access. Some people don't even have a sword. Some people have nothing to attack their enemy. Some people have nothing to defend themselves. They have nothing because they're not thankful for anything. They're not thankful for what they have been given. This entire world has been designed for you to take advantage of. So what do you have? What do you have access to? What do you have that you're grateful for? How do you say, okay, I'm grateful for this one particular area of my life, or I'm grateful for this one attribute that I have for myself? Now, how do you hone in on that and strengthen it and use it to the highest potential? This is the key to you transitioning to your higher self, because it's going to get you immediate results. Think about it. The person who has nothing can't go anywhere. He has no power. He has no gratitude. He has no power. The person who has gratitude and who has a focused gratitude and a focused confidence on a particular area, they could go as far as they could possibly go with that individual asset. Now, of course, they need to be well-rounded. They need to understand that utilizing that one particular thing maybe isn't applicable to every area of their life, but it will get them somewhere. That's what I want you guys to do. I want you to find something to be grateful for. And then beyond being grateful for it, use it. If I'm grateful for having my legs, if I'm out of shape and I'm down on myself, then I'm not grateful for what? I'm not grateful for my legs. I'm not grateful for my legs because if I was grateful for my legs, then I would use my legs to get in shape, right? So someone who's out of shape, who's optimistic, or who is looking at their life in a positive way and who's grateful for what they have goes and says, you know what, I'm out of shape, but thank God I have these thighs, I have these knees, I have these legs, I have these calves. Thank God I have this, because without this, I could never get out of my problem, you know? So then what do? They go on a walk, they go on a run, they start working out. So utilize what you have, but the only way to utilize what you have is to be grateful. Once you're grateful, focus that gratitude and utilize that gratitude to go somewhere with it. And then what starts to happen is you start to progress, and happiness is very correlated to progress in your life. Usually when you're unhappy, it's because you're stagnant and you're not moving forward. This is why the rich get richer, because they're still going. They might get to a certain level of wealth, but at the end of the day, if they stay stagnant at that level of wealth, they don't get happy. So they're strategic in nature, and they want to continue to become more wealthy and to become more successful, right? So again, progress is highly correlated, if not happiness. So the second you start to progress in your life, you usually start to get happy. The second you start to get happy, you start to get more confidence. The second you start to get more confidence, you start to go deeper and deeper and deeper into your gratitude, and you start to realize that you've had this entire time the full capability to become the person you want to be. If this video has helped you, please comment down below. I feel like it was a long one. Hopefully it's under 30 minutes long. If not, that's okay. I'm going to make sure throughout all these videos I'll have different definitions and examples and bullet points, so that way you can stay focused and consistent along the way. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new here. My name is Cleveland Bishop. I'm excited that you guys have found my channel. Please make sure you subscribe. A consistent theme you're gonna hear me say, by the way, in all of these videos that deal with personal development in you transitioning to your higher self, is the people around you are extremely important. And we have created an online community of like-minded individuals called Day One. Head over to day1vision.com. The link is in the bio. You guys can lock in, join our group, start networking and meeting some people that also want to progress in life. And more than likely, again, it's going to increase the odds of you becoming that person you want to be. All right. Again, my name is Cleveland Bishop. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay safe. Peace out.